Welcome to the Autumn Animal Tour. So it's been a little while since you've seen all of the animals, so I thought we would do a little tour of every single animal on site. There's quite a lot, there's a few new introductions to make, and I also need to reveal the names of the ducks. So that's all coming up in this video. So we're on the back meadow. Let's go and see the sheep and the pasture chickens. The girls have been really happy out here. They've taken to electric fencing really well, and they love the grazing, and it's actually been super easy, which is helpful. Here they are, over in this corner. I love them. I love them a lot. Morning! So here are the lovely ladies. They've been on this grass for 3 days. This is the 4th day, and I'm thinking that's about enough. This was where they were, and you can see it's quite nibbled. And if I just pan around a little bit, you can see in the background, that's the state of the grass normally. And then this is the grass they've been on. Hello, Candy. This is the grass they've been on for, this is the 4th day. So I think I'm having to move them on every 4 days at the moment, which is fine because I've got plenty of ground. I come down every day, just say hello to them. I've got a few sheep nuts. They totally don't need these sheep nuts. However, I want to continue with the taming and the bucket training. And I also think it's a very good idea just to come down and just observe your sheep. So when I'm feeding them, hello sweetie. Do you want to see? I've just put the nuts down there. You're a bit silly. We smelt them. There we go. So when I'm feeding them, I'm just looking that they're all up, that they're all feeding. They'll come to the fence for the nuts, of course, and then I can see it, make sure nobody's limping, and then also just checking their bums to make sure that we haven't. Are you not getting any? Here you go. Just checking their bums to make sure nobody has diarrhea or fly strike or anything like that. But as you can see, they're all perfectly happy, and as am I with my sheeps. They've taken to the shelter really well, so all that is a trampoline base that I got for free and a £15 tarp that I've just tied on the top, and it keeps enough of the rain off them to keep them happy. Now sheep obviously have a woolly coat, they don't really get cold, they can survive in snowy conditions, but what they hate is the rain. So I can just use this, and they've used it already. They're really good at going on it. So super happy with how that's going. Let's walk across to the pasture chickens and ducks. Here they are. So these are our pasture ducks and chickens. They're on their 4th rotation now of the grass. I'm still absolutely astonished about how amazing nature is and pasture rotation, because this bright green grass was the 1st and 2nd rotation. So the one nearest to us has only not had them on for 2 weeks. This is the state of where they were for the past 2 weeks. But in 2 weeks' time, this ground will be back to that, which I just think is amazing. So here is everybody. I haven't filled up their bath yet. I'm going to do that in a little bit. So we've just got silly little cockerel boy in there. And then here is everybody else. Now, for the keen-eyed of you, there are a few newcomers. Mainly this little lady here, who is having a little bit of a preen. So she is a rescue goose. I had some friends, they're leaving their farm. She was their last animal. And so I said, look, she's like 15, 20 years old. So I said, I will take her. She's going to be safe. Nobody's going to eat her. She's going to just live out her days on pasture with these guys. Next spring, I will probably get some more geese. I think she's in Emden because she's got that beautiful blue eye and she's pure white. So I'm going to do a little bit of research, make sure I know what breed she is, and I'm going to get some more goose eggs in the spring, I think, and hatch them. What are you doing? And hatch them out so she's got some buddies. But she has been on her own for many, many years, so I don't actually think she's too worried. We haven't named her yet. We're thinking we might just call her Mother, like Mother Goose, Mother of the flock. So she might just be called Mother. Then we also have, and these have featured in a couple of other videos. I can never do my finger, not this chicken. These two muscovies. So I was not sure about the sex of my muscovies, and a friend of mine had muscovy ducklings that she was selling, and so I said, you know what, give me a drake and give me a hen, and then at least I know I've got one of each. So they're beautiful, pied, black and white. I'm going to call so I got loads of names through, and it was a really tough decision on naming the ducks. So I put it basically to a Patreon poll and let you guys, who are the Patreons, decide. There were a couple of names that I adored, and they were Compost and Teapot. So these two are Compost and Teapot. The hen, which my finger is right next to, is Compost, and then I'm going to call the drake Teapot because they are the most fabulously silliest names ever, and I love them. So let's find the other ducks and I'll tell you their names. So honestly, we had some amazing names come through on the Facebook page, and I put out quite a lot of, I grouped them into groups of 4 and I put them out to the Patreons, to you guys, to choose what was what. So the first that we had were these 4 silver appleyards, and their names, I'm happy to reveal, are very royal, and they're Leopold, Bertie, Beatrice and Alice. Leopold is the drake who's got completely dark head, so he's in the middle there. The drake with kind of the mask, I thought Bertie sounds like a bit of a younger brother, kind of annoying little brother name. So that's gone to Bertie, and that's gone to the drake that's got the mask on, because he almost looks like a little younger brother. And then Beatrice has got the fawn face. She's right on the right hand side there. And then Alice, there she is. So that's Beatrice. And then Alice is the one with the completely white face. So that's it. So whoever picked those, well done. We've got Leopold, Bertie, Beatrice and Alice. And then we have our muscovies. So we have 4 lavender muscovies. Here are 2 of them waddling in. 1 and 2. And then we have this little chap down here with the bloody wing, where his wing feather is obviously split. And then we have the much lighter, almost sort of creamy white coloured muscovy. So they are Harry Potter themed, and I'm not surprised that this was popular. So it's Rowena, Helga, Salazar and Godric. Now I don't actually know the sexes of these guys yet. I think I might actually have 3 drakes and 1 hen. So Helga or Rowena is going to have to be, you know, just a boy's name, but that doesn't matter. We don't stereotype or gender here. You can be what you want. So that's going to be the names. So Rowena, Helga, Salazar and Godric for the lavender muscovies. Leopold, Beatrice, Bertie and Alice for the silver appleyards. And then this is Teapot. And there is Compost, biting his tail. So that's everybody who's currently outside. So let's head over to the barn and the pheasantry, and I'll show you loads more. So here is the pheasantry, and here are the guys down the bottom. So these two chaps are excess males, so they're going to be sold. And then at the back there, we have the budgies. And then we have Elijah, who is going to be our breeding male next year. And then in this pen, we have Adam and our 2 hen pheasants. Now, so far we haven't put any substrate on the floor. It's just the dirt that was there initially. It has been super wet, and so you can see that it has kind of turned to wet soil. So we're going to get some substrate in, some what am I trying to say? Some leaves, not some leaves, some bark. There we go, that magical thing. But we're going to get some bark in just to bark the floor. Not all the plants have been super successful either. In this pen, I think because there's 3 of them, that castor oil plant kind of survived, but this one has been completely and utterly mullered, as you can see. So that's not been super effective, but I think also we did it towards the end of the season. I'm hoping come spring, and if we feed them more greens, they won't destroy the habitat as much. The other thing is we do have rats. So initially we were putting out big plates of food for them so they could just have access to food all the time. However, we were finding that rats, we don't know exactly, but rats or squirrels were coming in, or even mice, and stealing all the food at night. I really don't want that, especially after the rat attack in the old house with all of those birds, the finches and stuff. So at the moment, we're just giving them a little scoop of grain just on the floor. But I think what we're going to do is I've got these containers. So I have these old popcorn containers, and we're going to drill a hole in the bottom, and we're going to attach one of those metal coils you can get, and then we can hang them, and they can be hanging feeder in each one so that they can have access to food all the time. But the rats and the squirrels, well, the squirrels will probably still get it, but the rats won't be able to get it so easily. But that's just one of those things about moving to a new place and setting up and seeing what the local wildlife and ecology is like. So it's not a problem. They're quite happy having their food every morning, and we always feed them enough so that they don't starve. But yeah, we can't leave excess food in there because it just attracts vermin. And then welcome to the barn, where we have loads of stuff. So first up, we've got little Duke. Hi, Dukey. Hello. So Duke is our rescue ferret, and he's super cute. He's being really good. He has been a great way to eat any excess cockerels I have. So obviously I keep a lot of bantams, and if you can't raise, I personally am not going to get much meat off those bantam cockerels because they're so tiny. So rather than it go to complete waste, we freeze them. And then we give them to him. And it's perfect. It means there's absolutely no wastage. He gets all the food he needs. And he loves it. Don't you, Duke? So he's a little star. And then down here we still have our little Alistair, our little mouse. I don't know where he is. Hiding away. It's probably going to get too cold for him in here in the winter, so he'll probably have to come back to our house. And then we have our run of hutches that go all the way down. So we have our rabbit, Liara. I don't know where she is. Are you coming out, Liara? We have some Barber Danvers down here. So I've still got some chicks from this year's hatch. Look, they've all gone camera shy and they've all run away. Are you coming out? It's like Jurassic World all over again. Everybody's disappeared. Here we've got silkies. So these are my silky adults. And these are my silky chicks. These are my accidental chicks that I hatched by accident because I wasn't paying attention to how many eggs were under mum. What I often do is I let these guys come out when I'm in here. Why have you all gone camera shy? This never happens. They're always way ready to come out. So the reason the Silkies and the Danvers are in here and not outside on pasture is I just haven't got the room. And I want to put them I want to make up some chicken tractors, and I want to put them outside in set pedigree pure breed pens. Rather than mixing them in with everything else. I also watched a fantastic permaculture video. I will try and find it and link it. And he kept some chickens in his polytunnel, and they had a little tunnel to go outside, so they didn't get overheated. But in the winter, it meant that actually he got some ambient heat in the polytunnel from the chickens. So my idea is to put the Silkies, because the Silkies obviously get very wet outside, actually having them in the polytunnel will be perfect. So that's a plan for this winter. And once we have the polytunnel on site, I'm going to try and construct their pen inside the polytunnel and do this little tunnel out of the polytunnel so they can come and roam outside as well. We're still waiting for the house sale to go through, which means we actually have no money. So at the moment, it's kind of, we have what we have and we can't buy anything more. So the polytunnel will have to wait until the house sale, fingers crossed, goes through. But that's the plan of action with these Silkies. I'm going to leave their door open in the hopes that they come out. I can show you. I did have to move my cockerel, Barry, back into here because he was getting absolutely mobbed in the pasture. And he wasn't getting enough food. So it's really important if you're integrating chickens, especially new cockerels, that you make sure they're getting access to food. He actually got really light because he wasn't getting access to food. So I took him home for a few days, fed him up, and then he's now back in with his ladies, and actually all is fine. Down here we have our quailies. Hi, girls. Again, these guys will be going out next year when it's warmer and I've made them a little run. I have reduced numbers because I had a lot of cockerels. So before we moved, I said goodbye to several cockerels. We ate a few, Duke had a few. And so now I just have one male, which is the one right in the centre of the screen there with the pied back. And then all the rest are hens. So I think I've got 9. They've obviously stopped laying now because the daylight hours have shortened enough so they're not laying. But come spring, we will hatch out a load more. But they seem quite happy and cute. And I like picking these little daisies for them because they come along and they pick the flowers and it's really sweet. Here's Ralph. Ralph's our rescue bunny. You okay? He's got a funny thing with his face. I've had it checked over. He hasn't got any ingrown teeth. He hasn't got an abscess. He hasn't got anything like that. I don't know whether maybe he had a stroke or something. But yeah, he's slightly lopsided. And then finally down here in the final hatches we have Tally. Everybody is camera shy. Where have you gone? What's this? Let's. Should we give you some? There we go. Look, it's just a camera. Even the Silkies haven't come out. What is going on? And then I just need to shut her thing. And then down here we have Thane. Now, if you remember, Thane was super ill. We gave them all vaccinations before we moved here because we have myxomatosis on the farm, and there's a very virulent strain of rabbit hemorrhage disease or something like that going around. So we vaccinated everybody, and poor old Thane had the worst reaction to it. You probably won't be able to see, but if you saw on my Instagram, he got really bad blisters and spots and pustules, and they were all around his face and his eyes and his nose, and I just thought, he's not even going to survive this. He might actually die from the vaccine. He was really lethargic for about a month, and now he seems to be recovering. He comes out, he eats, So I think we're all good. Obviously, it's too late now in the year to breed. It's going to be too cold. And I want to get him better. So we won't have any kits till spring now, but I'm happy that he's on the mend. And then finally, we have our boys. So we have our goats, and we have our beautiful Montague and Capulet. So the goats have been really, really good in tethering, but the problem is with the tethering, of course, I have to be on site all the time, and at the moment there's a lot going on, so I'm having to back and forth, so they're not really staying out for longer than an hour or two. It's also autumn and coming into winter, and there's a lot of rain, and if you know anything about goats is that they hate rain. So they haven't actually had the chance to be out that much. So I am contemplating trying to get some of them in with the ewe lambs and seeing how they fare. I'm just kind of worried that we're going to get horns hooked around electric fencing, and then they're going to basically pull the entire electric fencing out, and I'll be off site and there'll be goats running around everywhere. So before I do that, I'm going to use some hurdles to put across some field entrances, just so that if that does happen, they can't actually get out of the field. I also want to take out my 2 rams, and I want to move them over into this pen. Just because the rams, you know, the goats are just wethers. They're not breeding. They're fat. They don't need to be fed up at all. The rams really do need feeding up. They're this year's ram lambs. They need feeding up so they become big. Hello. They become big, strong, virile rams. So I'm going to move them across to this pen, and this is where the ewe lambs were. However, I need to clean it out first, because obviously I wormed the ewe lambs. They will have shed any worm eggs into that straw. So before I move the rams across, I need to clean it, because what I don't want is to have wormed the rams, move them across to where the ewe lambs were, and the ewe lambs, of course, came from a different place. And then so their worm and parasite resistance levels are likely to be different. So I don't want to move the rams in there, and then they start picking up that stuff. So I need to clean that out first, and then I can give sheep nuts and stuff to the rams. At the moment, every morning I bring Capulet out and I give him a bucket of sheep nuts, so he's getting some extra. But I do need to give Montague some as well. But I love them. And they go through a hell of a lot of hay, which is another reason why I want to get some of the goats out, because I don't want to be spending my winter buying tons and tons of hay. So that is everything that we have currently at the farm. Of course, at home we still have the tortoise, the Harris hawk, our 2 dogs, and our very ancient 21-year-old cat. But they are safely stashed at home in the warm, whereas all of these guys are more farmy and can survive out here. So that's been a kind of a whistle-stop tour of what we're getting. I am getting a few more animals in the coming weeks when the house sale money comes through, and that's mainly my nanny goats. And then in January, February, a few more sheep. But other than that, we're going to be quiet now, really, until spring, summer of next year. I hope you've enjoyed the video and seeing all of the animals. It's amazing to have them all up here and have all this space so I can actually get them out, give them more room, give them more space, give them better welfare, which is great. If you have liked the video, please hit that thumbs up button and consider subscribing. If you're on Facebook, come across and join us at Brimwood Farm's community group. But for now, I should say goodbye. Bye-bye.